Khachmanyan. Welcome to my draping studio. In this session, I'm going to introduce you to the art of draping. I have a master's degree in fashion and textiles and have been teaching in different higher education institutions for about 2 decades. For garment making in general, there are 2 different techniques of making patterns. The first one is called flat pattern making, when you draft everything 2-dimensionally on the table. But the draping is like an art form, sculpture, where you take a piece of fabric, you sculpt it on the form, and take your patterns that way. Most of you that are watching this video most probably already are familiar with the tools and supplies that are used in draping, but some of you most probably don't know yet. So I'm going to be introducing you to the tools and supplies that are used in this art form. In order for you to drape, first of all you need a form. Mine is size 8. You can get any size you want to. The reason I'm using size 8 is because it is the most popular size in production. But you can use whatever you have. But the dress form that you are going to get should be collapsible form and the type that you can easily pin in it. Now let me show you other tools that we are using usually in draping or pattern making. Here you can see I have paper shears and then fabric shears. I have a stapler, staple remover. This is your tracing wheel that is very much used in draping. This is my notcher and hole puncher, or something that we call awl. Like a bunch of different type of pencils, flat pencils, color pencils. I definitely keep some color markers also when I need to reinforce other line or change my line. We need nice straight pins. Not the bead type of pins, but flat head pins for draping. You can use your pincushion if you want to. Then we need a tape dispenser with a scotch tape, matte one, so we can write on it if we need to. We're using a bunch of rulers during pattern making. The first one that I would like to introduce you is called the French curve. There are other French curves in the market, such as the ones for architecture. This particular one is for fashion, so when you're getting your ruler, make sure that this is the correct French curve, because it gives us the correct neckline curves and armhole curves. The next ruler is our see-through ruler. Sometimes we call it a red ruler. The good thing about this ruler is that we can see through, and we can actually measure by just putting this on the line and seeing through the line and measuring the seam allowances and stuff that we need to. And the last ruler that I'm going to introduce you is the hip curve. Again, it comes either in aluminum or it comes in plastic, but I like this particular one better. Also, you need a tape measure. I prefer this loose one instead of the one that has a plastic box. Any type of tape will do. Now we also need styling tapes. One way of making a tape would be if we cut a piece of muslin and make it out of it, because we need to style the form. Or we can use any other tape that we need to. For instance, this one can be styling, let's say for necklines, for other style lines, or you can use sticky tape, tape that you can actually stick to the form. 2 previous ones you need to pin, but this one you don't need to pin, and it stays on the form. You also need an iron. This particular one that I'm using is an industrial iron, but you can use just any iron you have that has a nice stimmer. For draping, we mainly use muslin. It is a plain woven 100% cotton fabric that has nice feel to it. It doesn't stretch, doesn't move, it's pretty stable. That's why we usually use this fabric. Obviously, we can use different ones too. Let's say we can use chiffon to drape, we can use satin to drape. For instance, if I'm planning to make a silk satin garment, most probably I will use poly satin to drape. But mainly, muslin is the fabric. Now, I mentioned that this is a plain woven fabric, meaning this is the warp and this is the weft. It's just like, it's woven in a simple weave. That's the reason that when we cut, it tears very easily. So, and then when we cut the fabrics for preparations, we usually tear the fabric. We don't draft and cut. Usually fabrics have certain directions that we definitely have to respect. For instance, my fabric definitely has 2 salvages, and on the edge of the fabric, and I torn one that follows the grain of the fabric, or the true grain of the fabric. We also call it straight grain. On this direction, the fabric doesn't stretch. Therefore, we usually make the garments on this direction. We cut on this direction, so the garment will, let's say, perform properly. So this is the true grain of the fabric. But this is the cross grain of the fabric. So on the straight grain, the fabric doesn't stretch. On the cross grain, it stretches just a bit. And on a bias 45 degree, the fabric stretches the most. Once we understand the garment that we are draping, we specify the measurements, we prepare the dress form, and then we prepare the fabric. What we do is, let's say if I need this long of a fabric, I will tear the fabric, and then on cross grain, let's say, I would also clip and cut. I would come up with the dimension that I need to. Let's assume this is the dimension, this is the fabric size that I need for my draping. I need to block it. Now, from the factory, the fabric can be crooked, or just because I torn the fabric, I made it crooked. We need to fix it before we can drape. That means I am going to fix the crookedness of this fabric. Means I'm going to pull the short side to elongate it just a bit, and then when I put my fabric edges together, you can see that my fabric straightened. So this is called fabric blocking. And then after we block the fabric, then we press it. So when first I fold the fabric edge to edge and press on one direction, and as you can see, I'm just moving towards my weave of the fabric. And if I fold it on the opposite direction, my fabric should be straight also. So the fabric should be perfect shape, 90-degree shape, so I can drape. Why is it important? Is because if the fabric is crooked, then if I drape with it, most probably some hidden mistakes will be embedded in my draping that I would not be able to fix. So this fabric would be ready now to drape with. For professional pattern making, we do use a paper that is called dotted paper. This kind of paper can be found in professional stores. This paper has a very nice feel to it. It doesn't stretch, and it serves the purpose perfectly. Now, as you can see, their number or leather dots on this paper, and each and every number is 1 inch away from it. So we have crossed lines, 90-degree lines on the paper that helps us to keep our patterns straight on the paper. And if there is a mistake, we can see it easily and clearly. So you need some paper. You have been introduced to tools and supplies for draping. I have put multiple videos together in my website for different type of audiences to learn draping. In order for you to see the videos, you can visit my website, jasminegstudios.com, which you also can see on the screen. Those tutorials are designed for current students who are having hard time with their projects in class, or students who graduated long time ago and they want to refurbish their skills, or simply for people who just want to learn to drape. This concludes the introduction to draping. Hope to see you soon.